the astrology of the 2024 election. I also want to call this video Don't Shoot the Messenger. Hello, my name is Eliane Nicole. I'm your astrologer and tarot reader, and I wanted to stop in and do a quick video about what I am reading in the planets and the stars for the election of 2024. And last night I was studying the charts for November, and I posted in my stories, just very casually and on the spot, what I was reading in the charts, and I got a very strong response to that. And so people were saying they wanted to repost it, and so I'm recording this video now to share, but I just want to say I'm only going to post the first 5 minutes on my Instagram. The entire video will be available on my YouTube channel, Eliane Nicole. My YouTube channel is my name, Eliane Nicole, so please find me there. I will put a link in the profile bio of my Instagram. I will also provide a link in the stories of my Instagram. If you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Please like, please comment, please share. It all helps me in the algorithm. It will help me grow my channel and put me in a position to continue to give these free astrological offerings. Also, if you're watching on Instagram, please make sure that you are following astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole, and please like, comment, share, help me in the algorithm, help me grow my following. And I've just launched a new website, elianenicole.com, where you can go and schedule readings and see all the kinds of readings that I offer and read more about me and my astrology and tarot practice. And now, without further ado, so last night I was studying, and by the way, I am recording this video on September 28th, 2024, and last night, September 27th, 2024, I was studying the charts, and I was studying the new moon of Scorpio chart, which tells the story of November 1st to November 30th. And in that chart, it looked to me like Donald Trump is going to win the presidency. I am so sorry to say this, don't shoot the messenger. Then I looked at the astrology of the day of the election, and the day of the election, that chart also looks like Donald Trump is going to win the presidency. This is not what I want. I am just objectively reading the stars. This is not a psychic prediction. I'm reading what I see in the planets. Sometimes it's hard as an astrologer when you have your own personal desires to be objective about what you're reading. And that's why astrologers and readers aren't always the best at reading for themselves, because it's hard to be objective when you have a lot of attachment of what you want the outcome to be, to really just have the bird's eye view and read what the planets are saying, which is what I was doing last night when I was looking at these charts. And, originally, when Biden was in the running, I had looked ahead at these charts, and I remember that what I was seeing was, and I was less invested in that competition, and so I do believe that I was reading it objectively, and what I was seeing was that we were going to elect someone who represents the worst of the old world, and that would be what causes an accelerated crumbling of the old world, pushing us by counterpoint to a more progressive future in politics in the Pluto and Aquarius era that's beginning November 19th, 2024 and going all the way until 2044. If you follow my astrology, you know that the day of the election, Pluto is at the 29th degree of Capricorn. Pluto only came back to that 29th degree of Capricorn September 1st through November 19th of 2024. And that is part of what I read that made me believe that we were electing someone who represents the very worst of the old world, because that 29th degree of Capricorn is an honorary degree. The 29th degree of any sign is called what the ancients called the anaretic degree of that sign. And in degree astrology, it's always ruled by a malefic. And this is all jargon that you don't really need to understand the interpretation. But I say it for students of astrology or people who know astrology to know how I'm arriving at this prediction. But Capricorn, so Pluto at the 29th degree of Capricorn. Pluto is the destroyer. Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008. So Pluto being at the 29th degree of Capricorn has to do with the very end of a very slow and profound transformation that began in 2008. So arguably 2008 was the beginning of the end of the old world as we know it. This is very likely to be the last election that happens in the way that this election happens. And there are systems and structures in America that need to crumble. And unfortunately, it appears that the impetus to make this happen is going to be Donald Trump winning this election. Capricorn represents, so we're looking at, the crumbling of the old world. This is going to create an accelerated crumbling of the old world. Capricorn represents systems, structures, government, institutions, hierarchical top-down structures and systems. Capricorn represents wealth and status and ambition and money, the material world. The 29th degree represents the very worst of that material world, the very worst of those Capricornian values. It's the shadow of Capricorn. And all signs have their good sides and their shadow. To all my Capricorns out there, I love you. Capricorns are some of the most important people in my life. We need Capricorns. We need systems. We need structures. The issue is that Americas are outmoded and outdated. They were founded on very, they were founded on questionable ground, which brings me to America's chart. And the fact that the 29th degree of Capricorn also represents the very end of America's Pluto return. If you go back to my videos, September 1st or maybe August 30th or so, I posted the Pluto going back to the 29th degree of Capricorn video, grand finale of the old world. Go back and watch that video. I don't want to repeat everything here, but that explains a lot of what's going on here, why this is happening. The chart for America, July 4th, 1776, Pluto was in Capricorn. However, the founding fathers were Freemasons. They did construct the signing of the Declaration of Independence with the astrology in mind. However, Pluto hadn't been discovered yet. So Pluto was in their blind spot, but it's not in our blind spot anymore. When new planets are discovered, they come into our consciousness and we begin to, on planet Earth, deal with that energy that they represent. Pluto was at the 27th to 28th degree of Capricorn in America's chart, the 1776 chart. even though they hadn't discovered it yet. So now we're having to deal with what's in their blind spot, the atrocities that have been committed. So Pluto takes 248 years to get back to this degree. So Pluto will not be at the 29th degree of Capricorn again for 248 years. This is a very specific time in history because Pluto is so slow moving. And if you look back 248 years before the signing of the Declaration of Independence, we are back in the genocide of the Native Americans. We are back in the transatlantic slave trade. America's karma there has to be karmic balance to what has happened. The past 500 years of atrocities in America are coming to a head as Pluto is in this 29th degree of Capricorn. It is what it is, and I am sorry to say that this is what I see in the astrology. Don't shoot the messenger. In the new moon of Scorpio video, November 1st, which tells the story of November 1st all the way to November 30th, Mars, the god of war, is opposing Pluto, god of the underworld. Originally, when I saw this transit, what I thought was that it looks like there is an attack on American soil from a foreign entity. It could be that what I'm seeing is that there is, backroom deals being made that are, between the god of war and the god of the underworld that are sealing the deal of the fate of the election. This aspect, even though I see it already November 1st, it's coming into an application before that, days before that. So we can see this energy start to express even towards the end of October. But it is really perfecting November 1st through the election day. And Mars is debilitated in Cancer at the 29th degree of Cancer. Cancer, America has a lot of Cancer in its chart. Cancer has so much to do with homeland security, privacy, security, safety, the bloodline, the ancestors, the homeland. So homeland security is under threat very much from the end of October all the way through November. This is in the astrology. The only other way that this could happen is that whatever happens at the end of October or in the beginning of November, when I'm seeing this Mars-Pluto opposition, could be so egregious that the election is delayed. And in that case, that could be another read on it. And that's the thing. Astrologers are not psychics. We are reading. We are translating the language of the planets and the stars. And it's not English. It's not any language. It's the language of the stars. It's the language of the cosmos. And it is very intricate. And you have to study. I mean, I've been studying this stuff since I was a little girl. If you go to my website, ElianeNicole.com, you can see a picture of me at 3 years old in my favorite Libra outfit. Okay? But I started reading and drafting charts at 15 years old. I've been doing this for 36 years. And still, all my predictions aren't 100% accurate, but boy, most of them are. It's accurate enough that, even though I was educated at Harvard, Westlake, and went to UCLA and graduated from UCLA with a, bachelor's in communications, like I am not just a out there astrologer. Like I've had the best, Western mainstream education money can buy, and I've had careers in other films, music industry, and PR and special events. I'm a filmmaker. I made a documentary that traveled around the country and the world receiving accolades and awards, so I know it's very easy for people to write people off as just being some crackpot astrologer. And no, I've studied this stuff for years, and I've worked with thousands of people's charts, and I've seen again and again how astrology works, and whether or not we understand it, it works. It's a real thing. It's not a science, it's a divination. Some people call it the divine science. Call it what you will. I've seen through empirical evidence that it works. So I have made predictions with astonishing accuracy. I predicted a few weeks before Joe Biden stepped down the exact date that it would happen. And even when I read that date in the stars, I was like, wow, that's a Sunday. That seems weird. Maybe it'll happen on the following business day. And it happened on the Sunday, the exact day I predicted. There's a written statement of it that I posted. There are verbal statements of it that I posted, so that was just reading the stars. It wasn't a psychic prediction. And so I'm just saying what my process is here. I don't need to explain myself, but this is such sensitive subject matter, this election. It's such a divisive topic. It's such a polarizing topic. And I just want to say, the fact that I'm making this prediction doesn't mean don't vote. It doesn't mean give up. Go out and vote. We are not to be nihilistic. We are not to have a defeatist attitude. We are all to continue to fight the good fight, because that's all part of the momentum that is going to lead to the progressive push of the future. When Pluto goes into Aquarius, November 19th, 2024 until 2044, that Pluto and Aquarius arc, which is very slow moving, but very deeply transformational to the world in a myriad of ways. And I'm not going to go through them all here and now, because I don't want this video to be so long. This is going to be a part 1 video. I'm going to later do a different Pluto and Aquarius video. There are so many ways that Pluto and Aquarius is going to change the world. Politics is just one level. But what I will say is that Aquarius is about power to the people. It is about more horizontal structures, whereas Capricorn is about top-down structures. Aquarius is about humanitarian ideals. Aquarius is about what's good for the whole, what's good for the group. Aquarius is about progressive politics when it comes to politics. It's more about equality. However, Pluto transforms by destroying. Pluto comes in and destroys. He does the demolition, and then you have to rebuild from ground zero. And that is what this final moment of Pluto at the 29th degree of Capricorn, before it moves over to 0 degrees Aquarius, this worst of the old world and the reality of that is what is going to create the counterpoint, the energy, the momentum, the deep dig that's needed to create that force of progressive push to the new world. So everything that has happened for Kamala, this whole movement is not for naught. We needed this. We needed this goddess to this energy to arise and show us what we're capable of. I mean, the way that 40,000 Black women got on a phone call, a couple hours after her nomination was announced, and did a Zoom call and mobilized, the amount of money that she was able to raise, that people didn't realize that she was going to be able to, that this is all important. None of it is for naught. All of this is part of the picture of the push towards the more progressive politics in the Pluto of Aquarius era. We have to go through this process, because it's the only thing that is going to make humanity gets complacent. And unless the stakes are high, unless our asses are on the line for whatever reason, I guess it's human nature, we don't do what needs to be done. And there's a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot that needs to change about America. You know, the Democrats versus the Republicans is the white supremacist power structure. That is it. I'm sorry, don't shoot the messenger. It's the truth. And it seems that only by the worst of it coming to fruition will we change it. I guess that's what it is. That's the only reason that I could see that we would elect him, and how that is leading to more progressive politics in the future. You know, in the Libra equinox chart, which tells the story of the entire Libra season, you know, Libra is so much about law and the karmic balance of things and the justice system. But Venus, the sun's ruler at the ingress chart, was at the 29th degree of Libra, the most honorary degree of Libra. And that equinox chart tells a story of the entire fall season, which takes us all the way to the winter solstice in December 20th, 21st. And so Venus at that 29th degree of Libra is talking about the dark side of the law. You know, the law can be used, you know, human earth law can be used in many different ways. God's law, the universal laws, will always override that. And that's where the karmic balance comes into play. But in that Libra ingress chart, Venus was at the 29th degree of Capricorn, squaring off with Pluto, god of the underworld, the goddess of beauty and art and law and justice and money, was squaring off with Pluto at the 29th degree of Capricorn, crumbling of the old world. Venus is in a square off, a 90-degree hard angle. That is the dark underbelly of the law. That is likely what is leading to these election results. And by the way, because Mars is in Cancer, and Mars will have a retrograde in Cancer, this Mars in Cancer story, Mars will come back to the 29th degree of Cancer on January 6th. You can't make this shit up. You cannot make it up because of the retrograde. And because of the retrograde, whereas Mars in Cancer, which you should go and watch my Mars in Cancer ingress video, because I talk a lot about, you know, the homeland security issues and all of the things that the whole Mars in Cancer transit is bringing up. But usually Mars just zips through, well, it doesn't zip through, you know, Mercury zips, you know, but Mars usually spends 6 weeks in a transit. But because it's going into Leo and then going retrograde and coming back into Cancer, the entirety of the Mars in Cancer story goes all the way from, I don't remember the date it went in, sometime in August, all the way until April. So it looks like we are, you know, having these Mars and Cancer issues in America, you know, fighting. There's probably legal battles over the election results. There's probably protests happening, you know, potential of even civil war that will take us all the way into April 18th of 2025. So this is what I'm seeing in the astrology. And again, this is a part 1 video. I'm going to try and tie it up because I'm already almost at 25 minutes. But As if the astrology weren't enough, guess what the tarot card is for November 5th, 2024? And this is done by numerology. I am not arbitrarily picking this card. It's the devil. And numerologically, 11/5/2024, the devil is the card for that date, the day of the election. You add 1 + 1 + 5 + 2 + 2 + 4, it's 15. The 15th card in the major arcana of the tarot card is the devil. The devil has a lot to do with abuse of power, domination. I mean, obviously, who do we think of the devil as incarnate? I mean, Donald Trump, the greatest villain of all time, you know, or the most terrible villain of all time. Any way you want to look at it, I mean, he's almost like a Gotham comic book character. He's so bad. He's like, you know, the Riddler or the Penguin or, you know, the Joker. He's like that type of proportion of villain. And yes, the devil card, abuse of power, betrayal, domination, you know, death, violence, grief, power struggles, and that's my Thoth deck, which I love. But this is the devil card in my Afro Tarot deck, which I also love. I did a video on the devil card, which is in my YouTube channel. You can go back and watch it. I think I did it in early August because this was the card for August as well, for the month of August. But it's the day card for Election Day 2024. The month card for Election 2024 in my Thoth Tarot is Adjustment, which is the Justice card. But this is the one card in the tarot that switches from deck to deck, because in my Afro Tarot, the 8 is Strength. And I'm getting to these cards numerologically. So by adding 11/2024, that's 1 + 1 + 2 + 2 + 4. Oh no, this is the year card for 2024 is 8. I'm sorry, this is the year card for 2024. So 2 + 2 + 4. The month card is the Wheel of Fortune, fate, destiny, the cycles of life. You know, that Wheel of Fortune goes round and round, you know, and it's a cycle. So I will do a card on the Wheel of Fortune separately and talk more about that. But yes, this is what's going on in the cosmos and in the tarot cards. And so, is there anything else that I wanted to say? I think I've talked about, I also predicted the assassination attempts on Trump. I predicted the second. I predicted the first just energetically, didn't know what exactly it was going to be. Once I saw what it was, I was able to look at how the transit was going to continue to move and predict with accuracy that there would be a second assassination attempt. There will also be a third. Trump is still in danger as Uranus goes back and forth over his midheaven and also meets with the fixed star of Algol very near his midheaven. So there's still a third one to come. I think that one is next year, and I don't know if it's successful or not. I have to study that astrology a little deeper, so I'll do another video on that because I want to wrap up this video. You know, I also did a video on the debate, which seems like small beans compared to the big picture of what's going on. But if you watch that video, it was very accurate predictions. And I'm just saying that to say, I'm reading the same stars. They are not psychic predictions. I told you that. It's still important to vote. Everything that has happened with Kamala is still important. It's still all leading somewhere to a more progressive future. We shouldn't be fatalistic. We shouldn't be nihilistic. We shouldn't be defeatist. That is not the point. I don't want people to be mad at me for this prediction. But I want to leave you with a Victor Hugo quote. And it's from Les Miserables. And God delivers over to men his visible will in events, an obscure text written in a mysterious tongue. Men immediately make translations of it, translations hasty, incorrect, full of errors, of gaps, and of nonsense. Very few minds comprehend the divine language. The most sagacious, the calmest, the most profound decipher slowly, and when they arrive with their text, the task has long been completed. There are already 20 translations on the public place. From each remaining springs a party, and from each misinterpretation, a faction. And each party thinks that it alone has the true text, and each faction thinks that it possesses the light. Victor Hugo. So, I am translating the text of the cosmos. God bless everybody. God bless America. God bless the world. God bless humanity. We've got this. No matter what happens, whether our little human minds can wrap our heads around it or not, it's what is written. And now it's up to us at this very important point in history, this once in every 248-year cycle, to co-create the future of the new world that we are heading towards with acceleration. This next Pluto and Aquarius 20-year chunk. This election is not about the next 4 years, it's about next 20 years. We need to zoom out, not be myopic and small, and look at it from a broader perspective and not lose faith that everything is in divine order. Thank you for joining me.